Well, hi there. Welcome to Engaging the New Testament, the continuation, part two of Engaging the Old Testament. So, once again, we will have three competency assessments one that will deal with the history and the geography of the New Testament narrative, one that will continue the story and therefore an ebook of the New Testament narrative and therefore the overall Bible narrative, and one that will deal with the nature of the New Testament, the idea of interpretation, and the overall culture of the Bible. So let's run through them real quickly. The geography and history of the New Testament, we will master that by way of making your own Google Earth map. I'm really excited about that. So you will take a close look at a couple of locations. And for that, there is provided for you a template. So you will have assistance for that with a couple of examples for you. And be sure to really take a good look at the directions and the rubric that's provided for you. And make sure that you will find appropriate pictures. And a key there is, once again, to use provided resources throughout the lessons that you know for sure will pass the smell test. Also, be very critical of what really is a place and what really represents the pictures of the historical era that you're looking for. Sometimes people will upload pictures that are really not from the era that we're looking for. So be critical of that. And be aware that sometimes there are places that copy names. Sometimes people in the time of the Bible would name their cities and their towns after rulers, but they did that in multiple places to sometimes get an economic advantage out of it. So double check and make sure that the place that you're looking for actually is the place that you're looking for. Okay, so just a quick test there. And as always, why don't you do 2 or 3 of these places and send me a draft, all right, through messages. Then you will continue an ebook. Once again, there is a template. This will include also the what we call intertestamental period, the 400 years between the Old and the New Testament. So we will actually learn about that. Very important. Where was the United States 400 years ago? Can you imagine skipping 400 years of history? Well, there's 400 years of history between the completion of the Old Testament and then the New Testament. So we're going to look at that and then continue running into the New Testament. And yes, it is a story. So the purpose here is to see how the story of God continues throughout the New Testament era. And sometimes, if you're familiar with the Bible, people get it, right? It starts with the New Testament story and then the early church. And then typically after that, people kind of leave off and they think that the rest of the books that you will see in there are just a bunch of letters that people send back and forth. And they just kind of stop thinking of it as a story. But actually, behind the scenes, there is a story, a continuation as the story of Jesus spreads around the Mediterranean and northern Africa and then into Europe. It's actually a story that is unfolding, and we extract that out of these writings. Okay, so by the time that you complete this class, you will hopefully have a feel for the overall story of the whole Bible. So that includes understanding what literature provides this story. So you do, once again, literary features. What are some critical issues, meaning what are some difficult things to struggle with? You once again will provide that. You will once again reflect on, well, how do I feel about the story? What is my place in the story? And you will provide the story along with media aspects of it. And then finally, we will finish this out with the third assessment, which is writing, if you will, a newspaper article. Just you imagine that you provide the religion section for the weekend edition of a newspaper article. And that means that in newspaper style, you will once again discuss what the Bible is. In this case, really highlighting the New Testament, but we will focus on the role of culture as a backdrop against which to interpret the literature. What are some crucial interpretive elements? Absolutely make sure that you nail this idea um, of interpretation by means of what is prescriptive and what is descriptive. And I need you to go to the lessons. If you Google this or use AI, you will not get it correctly. Okay? So all the information is provided for you in the lessons. There are also examples for you about other topics because if not, the newspaper is already written for you. And I have all the confidence in the world that you will finish this on time with high success and well done because you already did this for the Old Testament course. So see if you need to send me some drafts, stay on top of everything, and I look forward to seeing what you will produce. All right, I'll see you materials. Bye bye now.